rain, so we're not supposed to have much for the next 10 days. So our beans will be okay. This corn on the flat ground will be fine, but the corn on the hilly ground will start showing up here. We didn't get as much. How many acres do we have? 1,600. We didn't get as much as like west of us on western Peoria County, towards Galesburg, they got twice. Now we did get more up in we do have a farm in Stark County and Marshall County. No one wanted to go out. So they should. We ended up celebrating over the weekend, but like I was sick as a dog. And the beans will be okay.
I was up at the farm Saturday. Ours looks pretty decent right now. We got enough. Early July we were kind of dry, but
you got more rain than we did. How tall are your beans?
oh, they're
Kate Pastusha joined.
Linda, are you on the line yet? All right, so you do. Yeah, so Mr. Chairman, you do have a quorum. It's 2 o'clock, so you can start if you'd like to.
Linda Daly joined.
There's Linda. Okay, we're ready to start this. First of all, I just need to get a motion to allow members to be on the phone. So that would be Ms. Daly, Ms. Pastucha, and Mr. Rosenbaum. All right, thank you. And Dr. Blair, second. All those in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Okay.
Kate and Linda?
Yes.
Never mind.
Yes.
They can't vote. Never mind. Never mind. You don't get to vote on this one. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. We do not have to suspend the rules since we've been allowed to have people call in and past board or committee meetings. So we will move on to the approval of the minutes of the last meeting. Could I get a motion to put those on the floor? Thank you, Brian. Could I get a second? Thank you, Sharon. Are there any additions or subtractions? Okay, all those in favor of approving
Linda Daly joined.
All those in favor of approving the minutes, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we have informational items. Is Becky here from PCAPS? No?
Nope.
No Becky? Okay. How about ETSB? Dave?
Wanted to give an update of the facility construction has started for the new 911 centers in Peoria and Bartonville. Peoria Metro Construction was the successful bidder, and so not only a local contractor doing most of the work, but also most of the subs are all local, so great local project for local labor. So that project hopefully will have both of those centers done by the end of February.
Anybody have any questions? All right, thank you. Next, Jason is on the phone with EMA.
Good afternoon. I apologize. I neglected to provide the written informational like I had in the past. So basically things are kind of status quo with regards to EMA. Obviously, we're working with, continue to collaborate with the health department side in our COVID-19 response, both specifically with regards to logistics and some PPE issues as things are reopening, as well as the public assistance and funding. And so the COVID response continues, and then we have had some discussions, some of you may be aware, with some individuals in the Bartonville area about some damage that some homes suffered during a storm about 10 days ago. So we're working through whether or not there may or may not be some opportunity for some public assistance or individual assistance to help them. That would probably be the two big main things that we're currently working on EMA. So,
Thank you, Jason. Does anybody have any questions for Jason? No? Okay, and finally we have the Public Defender's Report, and I believe we're honored to have Judge Lyons here.
Judge, would you please turn your microphone on? There's a switch on top there. There you go. Thank you.
Okay, is that better? And I'm a resident circuit judge in Peoria. There's a committee that's been formed that involves me and Judge Chris Doskach and Judge John Vespa and Renee as the court administrator, and Nate Bach. And I'm here on behalf of Nate Bach. We knew that Nate couldn't be here as of last week, so I volunteered to be here. And just to give you this sort of an update, I don't think there's a written report. However, I want to bring to the committee's attention that this sort of a subcommittee of public defender persons, John Vespa and Chris Doskach and I and Renee and Nate are all, so that you know, Peoria County residents. And our purpose is to assist the public defender in getting to where I think the county board wanted us to go, or wanted them to go a couple of years ago. 2 years ago, they created the county board, the public defender as an FTE, a full-time employee, and with the intention that, if possible, that the public defender's office would, so that you know, Peoria County residents, something that would have a more meaningful purpose and a more meaningful assist the result in terms of services, and to not explode the county budget. For many years, county budget, several decades, in fact, for many years, county budget, several decades, in fact, for many system that's involved all part-time assistants. It's been good on occasion, not so good on occasion. If it means anything to you, I was the state's attorney here for 23 years. Before that, I was an assistant public defender, and so it's one of those things that's had a very long life, but it may not be the life that we wanted to have. So I just want to take 2 minutes, if I could, to say that the public defender plans to create or start down the path, at least, of creating a budget for the 2021 fiscal year that would allow for a change from some part-time assistants to full-time assistants without breaking the bank. Now, that would mean that 3, perhaps 4 full-time assistants might be included in the fiscal year 21 budget that he'll present, and they would replace 3 or 4 or more assistants that were part-time. And the purpose being that, as it is now, a part-time assistant public defender is an independent contractor, which means that you can hire persons, but you have very little control over how they operate or what they need to do or how they need to do it. That has been a breakdown in services to a degree, because if someone complains about the public defender and the public defender wants to create a certain method for an assistant, the assistant could probably say, well, you know, all I am is a independent contractor. I think the county board has wanted to come away from that and to create a system that's more uniform, so that persons who are appointed the public defender have a public defender that has a good quality control and a good result. But those things take some money. So this is an effort, I think, that's been advanced by the Chief Judge, Paul Gilfillan, and by the County Board Chair, Andrew Rand, in order to see if the objective of the County Board, when making a full-time public defender, which is Nate Bach, when they did that and they created 3 full-time employees, Nate, Kevin Lowe, and Kristen, who is the administrative assistant there, that those persons have been full-time assistants, full-time employees, but the move will advance now where the public defender will create a budget here shortly that will include about 3 or 4 FTEs, and I didn't want to spring that on you at some point in the future. It's an extension of what I think the county board wanted to do. You can't do it all at one time. Just to give you a sample, there are about 25 assistant public defenders. The county board could not, it would be unconscionable to think that you could take 25 and flip them into full-time employees and it would have the results you'd want. But I think moving this way, 3 or 4 people will allow the county board and will also allow the county administrator and the county administration to see how it can move in the direction the county board wants to move without having this big sea change. Actually, they've probably intended to do this for the last 8 or 10 years, but it's quite an undertaking. But those are the thought. This committee, by the way, Vespa, Doskach, me, Renee, and Nate, is not a committee that's going to create that, but it sort of oversee things so that it's going in the right direction, has some benchmarks to meet, and doesn't create a budget item that any county board member would say, good heavens, we can't afford that. The actual thought is that it may, if it costs anything greater, it would be not terribly measurable, but its purpose is to even not create a greater expense at all. But I wanted to leave that with you so that you'll know, even though there's not a public defender report from figures and numbers, that's what I think the PD intends to do during the budget session starting next month. So if you had any questions, you might want to inquire during a non-committee time that you might have of the public defender, or even one of the judges if you like. But Vespa, Doskach, and me, Lyons, are the Peoria County judges that would be impacted, and we're doing the best we can to help Nate accomplish the objectives, which I think were the county boards from 2 years ago. That's my oral report.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anybody have any questions? Oh, Steve? Yeah.
Thanks, Judge Lyons, for that update. I guess you mentioned improve the quality, and so one of the things, not asking you to answer it today, but that committee and Nate look at what are some of the things we can do by bringing in-house public defenders to allow us to, I won't go into detail, but allow us to improve the quality to better serve the citizens of the county, and really kind of looking at, providing the right justice service for our citizens, especially in the times we're in now, but looking forward into the future. So if you could come back maybe.
I can give you 2 examples. Now, the 2 things that come to mind. First, it needs to have a fixed place. Right now, the public defender, Nate, is in the upstairs of the back area of what was the law library. It's not accessible primarily. Kristen is on the 2nd floor, sort of back where the coffee machines are now, where the court administrator is. Kevin Lowe is at the opposite end of the 2nd floor on the other end. And that's, you have to start somewhere. But it also needs to, from the public's view, you need to have a place. We're all in a virtual place, but if somebody were to say, where do I go to complain, or where do I go to ask a question, and they say, well, you go online, that's not good. And so it needs to have a fixed place. And I think that a part of the plan, I didn't mention it, but part of the plan is that and I know that Nate has talked to Scott recently too, is to create a place where all of the FTEs, the full-time employees, starting with those 3, are in the same place. Not in a shoebox, but in a place where there's a receptionist, there's a public defender, there's a person that can at least route your thought or your question somewhere. And that's very important. If you're a half-inch thick, 10 miles wide, no one knows where you are or what you're doing. And the second thing is that, and this is subject to debate, but I think that the interest for changing to full-time would start with the most voluminous courts. Maybe not, but traffic primarily. Because what you have is a glut of people who come in and they really just want an answer to their one question, or they want to make their case go away, or they want to cross the finish line in some way. But if it always comes back, it involves transport of prisoners, it involves witnesses, it involves sending out notices, and it just becomes one of those things that never crosses the finish line. So I think having a fixed place of business and having a method where a full-time person can see to it that the numbers reduce and not increase is a good thing. So it has to start somewhere, and hopefully, again, I think that's why the Chief Judge had us create this committee, so that, one thing I do that everybody else does here too is I pay my taxes. Boy, do I. And I pay them in Peoria County because I live here. And so I think that if you try to create a system that looks great, but you can't afford it, but if you don't live here, people don't look at the second component. But that's what I think. I think a fixed place of business and to hit the most voluminous courts first will help.
Well, and I guess I tie into the quality, and I've heard you have some challenges with court scheduling, the defenders aren't lined up with their clients, you have other costs that are incurred if it's not running smooth.
I'll give you an example. If you were a felony prosecutor, a felony public defender, and you were assigned at the time of arraignment, Joe Schmo is your lawyer. That seems to work somewhat well because you have a person that's accountable for you, and even though you may not get along at some point, like natural life or a natural case, you know who's accountable for who. But in traffic court, if you have someone that says, well, what do you want? Okay, you want a jury trial? So they set it for jury trial, but the person you're talking to now, the assistant, doesn't do jury trial day, they do bench trial day. So there's no real incentive or motive to get it across the finish line because all they've done is taken it off their day and put it on somebody else's day. The next day that comes, maybe the person that you're talking to says, well, we can't get to you today, we'll get to you another day. So it goes to yet another person's day. So when it's not full-time, then you sometimes become the pinball machine where, and the citizen feels, and so does the system, feels like this is never going to get done. All it does is exhaust people until it gets concluded because you've worn them out. It's one of those, and I don't think that's what anybody intends to do, but it happens.
Yeah, and I guess that's just kind of my point on the quality. Look at the benefits, the trade-offs of, maybe the FTE cost is X% more than it is today for the budget. But the trade-off is you save these other costs, you provide a better service. So if you could, your committee could come back with a little bit of a trade-off comparison and what it's doing positive for the community, I think that would be, it'd give us something else to build on because we'll have a tough budget cycle again. And
well, I have my own problems,
promising,
I have my own issues, so I can't become the public defender and create a system. I could, but that would work. But I think he's capable of doing that. But I would say this: you shouldn't anticipate a one-for-one trade-off. That would be, the budget couldn't withstand that. You couldn't take 25 part-timers and say, well, we'll turn it into 25 full-timers. Brian Elsasser would have a heart attack. And so you'd have to do something that would make it meaningful, so that maybe 1.5 persons could be replaced by one full-time person, or 2 part-timers could be replaced. And that takes really some inner knowledge about what can work and what won't work. But I think we've become accustomed to one way now. It had a good run, the part-time thing, but it maybe has gotten a little bit too far afield.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, sure.
Kevin, I heard they had room for these full-time employees up in your office. Is that right? I had to joke with you a little bit.
Okay, we're to resolutions. First resolution is the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board Camera Grant. Can I get a motion to put this on the floor, please? Dr.
So
Blair?
moved.
Linda.
And second by Linda. And discussion.
Mr. Chairman, if you have any questions, Sheriff is here to answer them. It's a pretty straightforward grant that's going to allow us to purchase some in-car cameras.
Does anybody have any questions for the sheriff? No? Okay, all those in favor of the resolution, please state aye.
Aye.
Kate, did you vote?
Sorry, I had to get off mute. Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. I believe this has to be roll call.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Resolutions.
That's my bad.
My bad.
So we're going to
be voting roll call.
We're going to go roll call. Mr. Rosenbaum,
Aye.
Mr. Renault,
Aye.
Ms. Blair, Ms. Bryant, Ms. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Elsasser, Ms. Pastusha,
Aye.
Mr. Ricker, Mr. Salzer, Ms. Williams. Motion carries.
Ms. Duncan?
Oh, Ms. Who did I forget? Ms. Duncan. My apologies, Ms. Duncan.
Aye.
All right, so that's unanimous. Thank you. The second resolution is the Victims of Crime Act grant. I believe it's pretty straightforward as well.
Right, so do you want to get a motion in a second, Mr. Chair?
Yep, so can I get a motion to put this on the floor? Brian and Phil, thank you.
Pretty straightforward. Julie Dickerson from the State's Attorney's Office is here to answer any questions. This is a grant above and beyond what they budgeted from a state grant revenue perspective. It will partially fund positions at the Children's Advocacy Center, which is a division of the State's Attorney's Office, and it will also pay for an annual maintenance fee of some video recording equipment that we have at the Children's Advocacy Center.
Any questions on this? No? Okay, all those in favor?
Roll call vote, Mr. Chairman. Mr.
We'll do this by
Rosenbaum.
roll call.
Aye.
Mr. Renault.
Aye.
Ms. Blair. Ms. Bryant. Ms. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Elsasser. Ms. Pastusha.
Aye.
Mr. Ricker. Mr. Salzer. Ms. Williams. Motion carries.
Great. The last one is the Public Defender Cost of Living Adjustment. Can I get this one on the floor, please? Sharon, can I get a second? Randy. Thank you.
Right. So this also is a pretty straightforward resolution, Mr. Chairman. So by law, the General Assembly in the state establishes the annual salary for state's attorneys, and then a separate state law requires that the public defender's salary be at least 90% of that of the state's attorney. With the General Assembly adopting the state fiscal year 21 budget, they increased the state's attorney's salary, and therefore the public defender's salary needs to be increased as well. The new wage for the public defender, as shown in the agenda briefing and the resolution, is $161,064.62. 2/3 of that is reimbursed by the state.
Any questions? We'll vote by roll call.
Okay. Mr. Rosenbaum.
Aye.
Mr. Renault.
Aye.
Ms. Blair. Mr. Bryant. Or Ms. Bryant, sorry. My apologies. Ms. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Duncan.
Aye.
Mr. Elsasser. Ms. Pastusha.
Aye.
Mr. Ricker. Mr. Salzer. Ms. Williams. Motion carries.
Thank you. We are at miscellaneous. Does anybody have anything for miscellaneous? Nothing? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Linda Daly. Left.
Kate Pastusha.
Left.
Monica Hendrick.
Left.
Paul Rosenbaum.
Left.
Jason Marks.
Left.
I'm having all kinds of problems today.